Hello and welcome back to your mat. Today we're going to do a class for those of you that might be feeling a little overwhelmed by the practice of yoga. There's a lot, you're not sure where to start, it just seems like there's so much, you don't know where to begin. So we're going to do a really basic beginner's flow today. It's going to be a slower flow, don't worry, it's not going to be intricate or quick at all. We're going to go slow, we're going to keep it simple, but these are going to introduce you to some of the really nice foundational poses in yoga. And so from this class, I want you to see that yoga doesn't have to be this overwhelming proposition. It's just like anything else. You just dive in and you learn something new every time that you come to the practice. So we're gonna get started. If you have a block available, have it handy. You probably won't need it, but you might, so just have it handy. Especially as a beginner, you might need it for some of the poses if you're tight. And we'll start with a quote by Jeremy Kent. Never underestimate the power you have to take your life in a new direction. So perhaps it's the first time you've ever stepped on a yoga mat. Perhaps you're coming back to the mat from a long time away. Perhaps you've tried it and you're just like, it's too complicated. I'm hoping that you can, with a simple flow, hopefully we'll change your mind on that a bit. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and move this out of the way and we're gonna come to stand at the top of our mat in mountain pose. So mountain pose is one of the very foundational poses of yoga, and it seems very simple. It's basically standing, but it's not just standing. So what we're trying to do here is we're standing with our feet hip distance apart, about hip. It can be slightly wider if you're really tight. It can also be slightly closer. Usually I go for about 2 fist width apart, but again, you can go a little wider if you need that, for if you have like really tight hips and hamstrings. So we're gonna start in mountain pose. And we're gonna come to the top of our mat. So go ahead and line yourself up here and get your feet ready. And I will go ahead and let you know that there is a guy out here, and I'm sure you can hear him right now. We might get him on video, let's see. That'll be exciting. And then we got him, we did. Okay, we're keeping that in the video. I'm not getting rid of that. That was really cool. So if you hear that, that's what it is. But we got him in the video, cool. All right, mountain pose, sorry for that distraction, but hey, it's yoga. Let's come into mountain pose, and we're just gonna inhale here, get tall, ground into all 4 corners of your feet, and then I just want you to simply fold forward. So ragdoll forward, hinging at your hips. Nice little ragdoll here. So fold forward, let your neck go, let it all go. And breathe there. And I suggest having a deep bend in your knees. And then we're going to inhale and halfway lift out. So this is a classic half sun salutation. So here's where a block, or just even your shins or your upper legs, whatever you need, get a nice flat back. And also feel that in your hamstrings. And then from here, go ahead and we're gonna come all the way back up, and then you're just gonna step your left foot back. And I would go, especially for if you're new to this, go with a a wider stance here. So have that back foot. You'll notice that my back heel is off the ground and my right leg is deeply bent. So this is called high lunge in yoga. This is a nice classic pose here. And you can inhale and rise your arms up overhead if you like. You can stay a little bit more upright. You can go a little deeper. See what feels good for you. And just notice, you can also leave your arms down. So if you find that your balance is a little wobbly here, widen out your stance. That will really help. Take another breath there. Exhale and let that go. And now we're gonna move into warrior 2. So we're gonna adjust our stance. So go ahead and keep that right leg bent forward. And now you're gonna bring your back leg back here. So now you're gonna have a heel. You're gonna have a heel to arch alignment. So you're gonna have this heel intersecting with your back arch. And this is warrior 2. So go a little deeper in that front leg if you can. You can also stay a little bit more upright if you like. And inhale and bring those arms out to the sides. And breathe here. So you're in warrior 2 now. This is a great classic yoga pose. It's full of power and strength. It's amazing. So this is a great one to learn. And breathe here. Inhales and exhales. Nice. And then from here, you're going to stay in this shape. We're just going to tilt our body forward, bring that right elbow down to your right knee, and now we're in side angle. So in side angle pose, you're going for a nice long line here from your left foot all the way. You're going to stretch that right arm up and out. So from your foot all the way out to your fingers. So that whole left side is a nice long straight line here. Breathe here. This is a strong pose. So you have to really breathe here and feel your strength in this pose. And then we're going to exhale and we're going to come up and go ahead and straighten out that front leg now. And here's where I will actually bring my back foot in just a little bit because we're coming into triangle pose. Again, a block could come in handy, but I'm going to try to show this without props in case you don't have those. So we're going to inhale and then we're just going to tilt our body forward to the right, bringing that right hand down to the block, the floor, or your shin. And then you're going to take that left arm. You can either leave it down on your side, or if you feel, go ahead and stretch it straight up overhead. You can have a bend in this right knee if you'd like. So breathe here for a moment. And then exhale, and we're going to go ahead and plant the hands back down. Go ahead and come into all fours for just a moment. Plant your hands on the ground or on your mat. Tuck your back toes. We're going to come into a classic pose, downward facing dog. So you're going to rise those hips up, bring them up toward the sky. Bring your hips up toward the sky. You can have your knees bent here, or they can be straight. See what works for you. Fix my shirt there. Go ahead and stay there. Stretch back into your down dog. This is a very classic pose. You'll do a lot of down dogs in a yoga class. And it's great because it's strengthening and it stretches all of your whole body. And then go ahead and drop your knees down. And from here, we're going to just come back into a nice child's pose. So child's pose is we're going to have our big toes touching, and we're going to sit back on our heels, and we're going to bring our arms forward in front of us. And you'll bring your forehead. I forget the sound here, but all right. I'll let him. Sorry about that. Beach yoga, this is what happens. What you're wanting to do is here, you're going to stretch forward. You may not come down on your forehead. You might just be up on your arms. And you may even find that your seat doesn't come all the way down. So just find where you are. You can put a block here if you'd like, if you have that handy. But this is a nice classic resting pose in yoga called child's pose. So if you can bring your forehead down, go for it. Do what works best for you. Here for a moment, we're going to rest before we go to the other side. Okay? And then we're going to come up, and before we go to the other side, we're going to do a nice little spinal twist. So we're going to come to a seated twist. So go ahead and cross your legs. And I've got my right leg crossed in front for this one. So inhale and get tall. And then we're going to exhale, we're going to turn, we're going to twist to the right. So twist to the right, bringing your left hand to your left knee, your right hand behind you. And then you're going to look over that right shoulder. So in my case, I get to look at the Gulf of Mexico in Texas. And the tide is coming in, so I'm gonna have to get this video done before the tide hits my mat. We'll see what happens. It might be an exciting video by the time it's all done. Breathe there, and then exhale and release that. And we'll do the twist on the other side when we do that whole sequence. So go ahead and come back up to the top of your mat. Not very graceful, but there you go. Come back in your mountain pose. And we're going to do that whole sequence again on the left side. So, inhale, arrive here. Make sure all four corners of your feet are firmly planted in the mat. You're about hip distance apart here with your feet. And then just ragdoll. So go ahead and hinge from your hips, folding forward. So this is the forward fold. It's a classic yoga pose. It's used a lot in what we call half sun salutation. This is actually a half sun salutation. This and the halfway lift. So just let your body drape here, bend in your knees is fine. Just let your body drape. Your hands may not touch the ground, and that's fine. You can just drape here. And then breathe there. And then on the inhale, go ahead and halfway lift. Come on up. So again, you can use your shins here or a block, whatever you have handy, to halfway lift. So you're looking for a flattish back here. And again, you can have a bend in your knees. So if you have really tight hamstrings, the bend in your knees is going to help. And then come all the way back up to mountain. And we're going to step back into that high lunge with our right leg going back now. So we're going to bring that right leg back. And again, your right heel is off the ground. And I'm a little wobbly there. So make sure you widen out your stance. Your left leg is now bent forward. And then from here, you're going to go ahead and rise your arms up overhead into your high lunge. So you can bend deeply or you can back out. This is a strengthening pose. Also a classic yoga pose. You can also leave your arms down. Breathe there. And then we're going to go ahead and switch into our warrior two now. So go ahead and move your front foot over a bit, and now you're going to have your back leg and your left leg forward is bent, and you're going to have that heel from your left intersecting the arch of your back foot. Bring your arms out to the sides, and you're in your classic warrior two. Breathe here. I'm watching the water get closer by the minute. Like I said, this could be an exciting video by the time it's all done. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and do that side angle. So go ahead and keep that left leg bent. Bring that left elbow down. And now that right arm is going to come up. Now you're in a nice, beautiful side angle here. Got a nice long line from your right hand all the way down to your right toes, the right foot. Keep that right back foot grounded in the mat the best you can. And always remember to breathe. That's such an important part of yoga. Breathe in and out through the nose. Come on up. And now we're going to come into triangle pose. So go ahead and straighten out that front leg. And you can bring that back leg in slightly. Inhale, and then on the exhale, go ahead and reach out and bring that left hand down to your shin, the floor, or a block. We're now in a classic triangle pose. So that front leg is straight, and bring that right arm up overhead. Breathing here. So now I'm looking out to the right hand side. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and come on down to onto our knees. And we're going to stretch back into downward dog one more time. So go ahead and have both your hands down on the mat, tuck your back toes, and come into that downward facing dog, the classic yoga pose. Again, I've got my feet about hip distance apart. And just notice here, if you need to have a really deep bend in your knees, go for that. But you're really wanting to bring those hips up as far as you can. Stretch those arms. And then exhale and release that. Let's come to child's pose again. So child's pose, remember, is your big toes touching. You're going to sink your seat back under your heels the best you can. Stretch your arms forward. Either bring your forehead down to the ground, or you can stay more upright. Your seat may not come all the way down to your heels. That's fine. Just notice where you are. This is a classic resting pose in yoga. And then on the inhale, we're going to come on up. And we're going to do that twist to the other side. So go ahead and bring your left leg in front of you. So nice and tall. Breathe in here. Twist your body to the left. Bring your right hand to your left knee and your left hand behind you. Looking over that left shoulder. Nice twist here. Breathing here. Enjoying this sensation, enjoying what this feels like. Exhale, bring it back to center. And to finish out class, we're going to do another classic yoga pose, seated, called bound angle pose. So bring the soles of your feet together to touch. Your knees are bent out to the side. They may be higher up, and that's fine, wherever they are. And you don't have to bring them in really close. You can have a little bit more of a diamond shape here if you'd like. Sit up tall. If your knees are way up, stay up. If your knees are further down, you can fold forward any amount. And I'll turn to the side so you can also see this. So again, if your knees are up, stay upright. If they're a little bit further down, then you can go ahead and bend forward. Any amount here. This is called bound angle or cobbler's pose. After cobblers, you fix shoes. And then go ahead and come all the way back up. I really want to congratulate you for trying out this class, especially if you've been feeling overwhelmed by yoga. I wanted you to see that it doesn't have to be that complicated. You just break down the poses, you just do them over and over again. You'll learn new poses. And it's really hard to get bored with yoga because there's so many new poses to do. It can seem overwhelming, but the more you do them, the better you become at them, the better you start to learn the names. It's a great learning experience, and I really thank you for joining me. I hope this class was helpful. Until next time, and I hope you enjoyed all of the extracurricular activities going on around me, especially the sound. Thanks again.